what we also wanted to say is Multi IMSI doesn't have to be used just to enable traveling and travel services. It's also a fantastic way for both an MNO and an MVNO themselves and MVNEs to enable trials of services quickly in different places, in different markets, or with different brands. If you look at anybody who's run a wholesale department or anybody who's run an MVNE, and even ourselves, we have a flexible platform which probably makes it even more difficult to predict who is going to be successful. But when we did 2-3 years ago, when we did the biggest ever single SIM order with the most amount of brands for an MVNO launch, which was well over 100,000 SIMs, we had many brands on there. Some of them had the bulk of those SIMs, some of them had small amounts of those SIMs, some of them were sub brands that had sub lots of those SIMs, right? So we had everything from people with only 1,000 SIMs to people with the best part of 50,000 SIMs. And you predict, or you try to predict, who is going to be successful and how many services they're going to have, and even the ARPU that they're going to have. And guess what? I have been doing this now for 20 years. There's only one MVNO that managed to get their target right, and that is somebody who we won't mention now. We can do that in another time, but don't walk away with the idea that one person got it right out of hundreds or thousands. So obviously that is the way that things work. It's not. That, again, it could have been complete fluke. The norm is that your target or your forecast will be so out, it is ridiculous. And it's never normally out by a little bit. And it's never always up or always down. It is usually a factor of at least 10 up or down. So when you've forecast 5,000 customers, you may have 500, sometimes you only have 50, and guess what? Sometimes you only have 5. On the other hand, you could have 50,000, and in some cases 500,000. But again, it's not linear even then. So just because you've got you are 5, 10, 20, 30, 40 times over target here, seasonality then kicks in that nobody knows until it happens, or any manner of things could kick in from other competitors, etc. You may recover, you may never recover, you may take a week, you may take a month, you may take a year, you may take 2. I mean, honestly, in this market, the timescales are very long. You could take 2 years, 3 years, 4 years to recover from a change in the way that your market works. And again, even the ARPU. I mean, we have people who have gone after $10 ARPU and ended up with 100, and vice versa, and everything below, above, and in between. So the message is, use a roaming product to judge that market and get yourselves certain customers, the best customers, into a frame of testing the water first. This does 2 very important things. One of them is that many customers get obsessed with the price, and the price is, I would say, directly inverse to success. So we have customers who have had the roaming rates, plus we've arranged a very competitive price on our IMSI for them to use in a certain area, and that does not necessarily make them more successful. In fact, I would say some of our all of our more successful customers have taken the advantages of coverage, the advantages of being able to get quick to market, the advantages of the flexibility of being able to change people from prepaid to postpaid, from national to international, for using the same SIM stock in the USA or in the UK or in Europe or anywhere in the world, and be able to put a tariff very quickly through one of our 2 roaming hubs on there very quickly, and take an advantage of niche markets in Africa, in Asia, now on pretty much every continent there is. And that puts you in a very select group, because every network operator, every MVNE, every MVNO even has dozens, if not hundreds or thousands of people knocking on their door every day. Everyone from crazy loons with an idea on a napkin to actually clever people with an idea on a napkin, all the way up to some of the biggest brands there are. And you never really, you could not underestimate how I have gone to every major network operator with brands of all sizes, and you do not know what the response will be. And the reason for that is that some of these brands, even though they may seem amazing and sexy and the best thing since sliced bread, for example, I'm not going to name examples, but in the UK, there were 2 or 3 examples that have been trying to launch an MVNO for years. They could potentially have been huge, and they are now finally huge. But for 10, 15 years, they've been knocking on MNOs' doors and about to launch next year or the year after. 10 or 15 years is a very, very long lead cycle. And even then, you don't know how successful they're going to be. An example, in the UK, we have one supermarket which has now 3-4 million customers. The other 2 supermarkets launched and they didn't even get close to that. I mean, we're talking a 10th or a 20th of that market share, and they closed because it didn't reach the mass that they expected. So in short, you don't know how successful you are going to be or whatever. Network operators have hundreds, thousands or dozens of people coming to them every day, all with the same sob story. I need this rate to get this market. And they spend hours deliberating over that. The successful people, they go out and they go and get 10, 100 or 1,000 test customers on a roaming product, paying a premium or paying the right amount of money, and then say, to get 10,000, I need this. To get 100,000, I need this. And guess what? Those are the people who seed a minimum viable product at a reasonable rate, and they actually find customers who value their product. It's so easy to go out there and say, here's a cheap or free service. Suck it up. It's brilliant. Yeah, I mean, people will take it, they'll use it, but they'll generally use it because they're tight and they don't want to upgrade their existing MNO plan. Cannibalization. They will use it because they have another device that they keep meaning to get a SIM for, but they'll use yours in until they work out the SIM that they want, and then it'll go in the bin. Or they'll use it when they're a student because they're being cheap. But guess what? Being a student is expensive. They then get a job and find out that it comes with this or that SIM. They're not long-term SIMs. They're not long-term products. They are things that are generally used for the duration of their offer. And so what our Multi IMSI product allows you to do is, as a wholesale product, as a wholesale department within an MNO, or as an MVNE, or as an MVNA, is to get your brands and your want-to-bes to put their money where their mouth is. So many people will talk the talk, but very, very few people can go out there and take a single USP and get it out to market. The minute, a lot of people can even do that, but the minute that they are challenged, they will fall, and they will literally say, can it do everything that my 4G super fast, big network operator SIM will do? And instead of saying, no, if you want a super fast, super amazing all you can eat, amazing with a free iPhone, whatever, that's what your network operator is for. However, if you want this niche product and you really value that product enough to pay for it, here it is. Full stop. Those are the customers that you want on wholesale, not the people who are just trying to copy you with another cheap, another copycat, another free WhatsApp. I mean, all of these stupid things that you can do by sitting down with your marketing department in 5-10 minutes, 5 or 10 days. What's the point? May as well do it yourself. Or launch a brand with our product and do it yourself. But use a flexible platform, cloud-based platform, to find the real niche customers that are either being served with not just your SIM, but another SIM of your competitors, or not being served at all, and tap that revenue. So this is the second in the IoT series. It is slightly later than we wanted. We quite haven't been able to keep up with one a week, but sometimes you'll get them one a week, sometimes it will be more like once a month. Now in this series that we're going to do, there's another 4 that we're doing today, and we'll slowly release them over the next few weeks, months.